Hey everyone, this is Sarah Dahlinger, and I am the creator for Zero Drag, Murdermouth, Alien Sharks, and more. And today I'm going to show you how I sculpted the Thysano Wide-Mouthed Shark. So right here I am starting off with the Z-spheres as usual, and I'm just working out the basic proportions of the new shark. And there I've made adaptive skin, and I'm starting to sculpt it. Usually I'm using Dynamesh, and now that I've updated my ZBrush, I do use the Sculptress Pro feature as well. So I've loaded in my sketch into the background, and I'm trying to match the proportions of my drawing. Trying to get it to match up just so. This started off a little bit more ratty than usual, but you know, I still got it to work. I'm working on splitting the jaw right there. He has a snake-like jaw. I'm trying to get the fins to match. Just refining the shape a little bit, working on the plating. I originally thought that he'd have some armored catfish-like plating. Eventually I changed that, but in the beginning that's what I was going for, and that's what's depicted in the concept art. And here I was trying to make sure I was really nailing his extreme proportions. He's, what is it, a predator that eats a vast amount of food. I think they're called gulpers. And he eats like prey that is the size of his head. So he has this giant head and this tiny little body, and they're hyper aggressive. He'll also eat schools of fish and small prey. I just worked on the lateral line right there, and it's very sturgeon-like. He lives in a dark brackish water system. It's very, very murky. So he has a ton of sensory organs. Now I'm adding in some basic teeth. I will go in and refine those later, but this is just to get the basic idea. I'll pop them off and fix them later. Adding in some catfish-like barbels on the front and the back. So he has a strong lateral line, catfish-like barbels, and a bunch of eyes to help him navigate his really brackish home. Now I'm adding in the real teeth. I've popped off the fake little placeholder teeth. And that's just an insert IMM brush. And I'm going in and altering it to make them not just brush-like. You gotta fix them up and make them look more organic. A lot of times when you're sculpting a shark, it feels like you're just sculpting the mouth, because for the most part, that's what a shark is. It's like a mouth with a tube and some fins. So I'm adding in multiple rows of teeth, making sure that the inside of the mouth has all these wrinkles and is kind of gross looking. For him in particular, because he can open his mouth up so wide, I wanted there to be a bunch of extra skin. Now I'm working on his hippo-like tusks. I always liked hippos and their insanely aggressive teeth. Adding in the real eyes. There I was just Z-remeshing it to make the mesh more clean so I can add in more details later. And now I'm going to add in the real teeth. So usually I'll Dynamesh out the teeth and then I'll pop them off and either replace them with something I've made or refine it and then pop it in so it can fit really nicely into the gum. Working more on refining the inside of the mouth. Was my initial idea is that in the final concept you would see inside the mouth, so I wanted to make sure all the extra skin wrinkles were really present. Just working on some anatomy underneath him. Getting the little fin muscles in place. Getting some back muscles in place. I kind of indulged myself a little bit and deviated from real anatomy. Sharks have a very fish-like anatomy, and the muscles that I'm placing in is kind of a little bit more dolphin-like, but it's also a little bit more beefy and aggressive looking, so that's what I went with. So I fudged it a little bit here. Working on the fins. A little bit more refinement of that back fin. I'm trying to get that little, there's like a little bottom piece of the fin, and I was pulling those out. As you can see, I'm constantly looking at reference too. I usually have it on my second screen, but I popped it over here so you could see what I was using. Oh, here's a big change. So I decided that I didn't like the shell. It just wasn't working for me, and I wanted the jaw to be wider. So instead of having a shell-like exterior, I made him have a more wrinkly skin-like exterior. So I went more hippo and less catfish, ultimately. And I do like that decision. I think it was good. Now I'm just refining more wrinkles and the gills, trying to tighten them up. I'm getting that little bottom piece of that fin. Oh yeah, now I'm giving him his angry eyebrows, and it's not really my intent here, but sharks kind of retract their eye into their head when they're attacking, and he's definitely attacking some prey in this pose. So it kind of does look like they have angry eyebrows, but that's because the eyeball is like pulled into the skull. Yep, we're just adding more detail to the eye. Oh, and I'm going in and adding detail to the lateral lines and his general silhouette underneath the fins. This is basically a final detail pass. Just making sure everything is just how I want it. Looking at more reference. Now I've started to add some smaller wrinkles and even further refine the gills. The gills are quite narrowly stacked, so I wanted to make sure the gaps in between each gill plate wasn't that big. And I've started to add some scarring onto him. If you look at great white sharks, they have scars all over them. And I just assumed that these would be even more aggressive than a great white, so I added quite a lot of scarring to it. They have scars all over their nose, all over their pectoral fins. And the females have scars. You can see I've added them to the side. The females have scars all down their bodies. They think it's from when they mate. They also have scars all over their tail. Now I'm adding in alphas. So this is just very, very fine skin pore texturing that I'm putting all over the body, just to have like a little bit of tooth. When I paint in the poly paint, I can mask by cavity and use that, and then it's like when you do the final renders, adding in that little bit of surface detail helps. Basically, this is kind of a hard part to see, but it's tiny little details and skin pores, tiny little wrinkles, more tiny little scars. Oh, now I'm texturing the teeth there. And getting it just so, because I'm going to start painting it soon. Here we go. So I chose a peacock bass as my reference for the color. I thought since he lived in a kind of a brackish but also warm tropical environment, having these stripes would help camouflage him, and I just thought the bright colors really conveyed that he was living in like a warm water kind of environment. That's why I went with that. All right, we're wrapping it up pretty soon. So thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you have enjoyed watching the creation of the Thysano Wide-Mouthed Shark for Zero Drag Murdermouth. Hey all, this is Sarah, and thank you so much for watching this Zero Drag Murdermouth, Alien Sharks, and More movie. Zero Drag Murdermouth is a creature design art book that I am currently in the process of creating, and it is brought to you by my patrons. So if you would like to get your name on this list, as well as unlock all the rewards for the project, my patron exclusive rewards, you can pledge any amount at patreon.com/Sarah Dahlinger. That's right, pledge whatever you want and you unlock all the rewards. And I would really appreciate it if you stopped over and did that. It helps fund the project and it helps me make the project faster. So thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.